Does gun control work? Would stricter gun laws really save lives? Hang on, gun control activists. This one's gonna sting. As an American, I do not have to justify my constitutional human right to the Second Amendment. Now, I could stop right there, but for those of you who still don't understand, this is for you. It goes beyond logic to believe that we as Americans are safer without an effective means of protecting ourselves. But gun violence and mass shootings. Listen, criminals are criminals because they break the law. The only people who are hurt by these laws are law-abiding citizens. Welcome back to grade school, where one individual breaks the rules and the whole class loses their human fundamental right to protect their family the way that they see fit. Do you understand that when you change the laws due to a mentally deranged person, you are holding law-abiding citizens responsible? Does the fact that 90% of mass shootings take place in gun-free zones make you feel a little uneasy? Newsflash, deranged people go for weak targets. So the logic here is this. These people were unarmed, and the only way to fix this is to unarm them some more? Now that is some sound logic. And to top that off, your answer is to let the government fix it? I mean, since they've done so well with the drug war, the war on poverty, public education, Social Security, Operation Fast and Furious, the Vietnam War knowing that we would lose, Hurricane Katrina and the freezing of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, VA hospitals, the failed healthcare.gov launch, the Benghazi attacks, the Panty bomber, finding no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, the Fort Hood shooting and knowing that the shooter was in contact with the Al-Qaeda, Consumer Product Safety Commission in 2007 letting toxic children's toys into the U.S., food safety recall of 2007, IRS targeting conservatives in 2013, every single Native American treaty ever written, failed investments in Solyndra, A123 systems costing the U.S. taxpayer billions of dollars. These are the guys that you want to entrust with your safety? And those are just the ones that I wrote down before my hands started cramping. You see, this isn't really a fight between guns and laws. It's a fight between the knowledgeable and the uninformed. What I want you to get out of this is the ability to defend your beliefs. So here are a few facts and situations to carry with you. Gun control activists commonly say that they do not want to take away guns. They just want common sense gun laws. And when you ask them what that means, they have no answer. They normally say background checks or something like that. And then when you ask them the current process to purchase a weapon, crickets. So here are the requirements to purchase a new weapon in the United States. There is a background check for every new purchase. Felons cannot buy a gun. People who have committed a violent misdemeanor, no gun. Domestic abuse felonies, no gun. Legally declared medically unfit, no gun. And every state has some sort of waiting period to receive your new weapon. Oh, well, I just want to bring back the military assault weapons ban. Well, military-style weapons like the M16 are already heavily restricted, and it takes a Class 3 weapons permit to even purchase one. And almost none of these mass shootings are done with weapons such as that. It's actually hard to find any that have been done with fully automatic weapons. In fact, the majority of mass shootings are done with handguns. The assault weapons ban had almost no statistical effect when it was in place. And furthermore, rifles only account for 3.55% of gun violence annually. What do citizens need with military-style weapons like the AR-15? The military uses M16s and HK MP5s, not AR-15s. Well, what does someone need an automatic weapon for? Once again, fully automatic weapons are heavily restricted. Okay, we can gain access to them, but you need a Class 3 weapons permit. The majority of rifles out in the United States or in the world are going to be semi-automatic, which means you pull the trigger once, one shot. Pull the trigger again, one shot. Fully automatic weapons are when you pull the trigger and a consistent flow of rounds come out of the barrel. Almost every single pistol that you've ever seen in your life is a semi-automatic. The truth is, when you ask people what laws they want to put in place, they normally recall laws that are already in place. The more guns, the more crime. Well, actually, there's no statistical data to support that. Actually, gun violence has been declining for the last few years. And just back in 2015, it was reported that there are now more weapons in the United States than there are people. But let's go back to that statement. No guns, no gun violence? That isn't even based in reality. Are you saying that if a gun was never created, that you would have no gun violence? No way. Would there be any less bombings, U-Haul truck massacres, or mass stabbings? No, there would not. Why? Because where there is a will, there is a way. Let's use Australia as an example. They had a mandatory gun buyback program, and it had almost no statistical effect whatsoever. It was actually a gun ban. They had to change the definition of mass shooting so that it actually made their statistics look better. You can look that up. It's real stuff. So here in reality, it's actually been proven that guns exponentially save more lives than are lost to gun violence. The CDC and National Safety Council have actually reported that there are around 35,000 gun-related deaths each year, with 21,000 of those being suicide, leaving only 12 to 13,000 deaths considered gun violence or homicide. I say only not to say that those lives do not matter, but in comparison to the 500,000 to 2.5 million lives that are saved every year due to self-defense with a firearm, that is a small number. And these numbers do not even take into the account the amount of people who have protected themselves from an attacker by just brandishing a firearm and never making a police report. It's actually a funny story, though, how we got these numbers. Obama changed the rules to allow the CDC to investigate things other than diseases. He was in high hopes to prove his point that we were safer without weapons. And he ended up unearthing one of the most effective tools against gun control since the Second Amendment. Seriously, look it up. It's pretty hilarious. Here are some other findings in this study. Whether gun restrictions actually reduce firearm-related violence is actually pretty unsolved. Using a gun in self-defense actually lowers your injury rate compared to other forms of protection. There is empirical evidence that gun turn-in programs are ineffective. Well, if these laws can't fix it, then where do we look? Well, we can start with the fact that every single mass shooter in the last 10 years has been on some form of antidepressant medication. And in some cases, it's the only link between these people. I mean, seriously, different walks of life, different marital statuses, etc. It's worth looking into. So in conclusion, this is a very important topic, but I think that people are looking into the wrong thing. We have to get past these lines of thinking so that we can find a way to make the world a safer place. And so far, allowing a person to protect themselves is working rather well. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching. Now go out there and prove them wrong.